6 exercises used by Shaolin monks to create the most resistant bodies in history. Could you keep your body motionless for hours, in a position that would make any modern athlete tremble? The Shaolin monks could, and more. They absorbed devastating blows, maintained absolute focus, and trained every day without needing modern gyms or supplements. Their strength didn't come from machines, but from training as brutal as it was effective. So today you'll see 6 powerful exercises that Shaolin monks used to develop the most resistant bodies in history. But before we begin, tell me in the comments your name and how long you've been training. Exercise number 6. Fingertip push-ups. While traditional push-ups are already challenging for many, the monks elevated this movement to another level, supporting their body weight only on their fingertips. This exercise perfectly exemplifies the Shaolin philosophy of transforming weaknesses into strengths. In ancient scriptures, it is said that a monk named Bodhidharma, founder of Zen and Shaolin Kung Fu, spent 9 years meditating facing a wall. To stay awake, he began doing push-ups using only his fingers, developing extraordinary strength in his hands that would later be fundamental for combat techniques. This exercise intensely works the chest muscles, triceps, and shoulders, just like conventional push-ups. However, the difference lies in the incredible overload it places on the muscles and tendons of the fingers, wrists, and forearms. This specific strength in the extremities was crucial for the monks' attack and defense techniques, allowing precise and devastating strikes, as well as the ability to grab and control opponents with supernatural ease. Additionally, the exercise develops the core and shoulder stabilizers, creating a trunk shielded against injuries. To execute correctly, start in a high plank position, with arms extended and hands under the shoulders. Now comes the challenge. Lift your palms off the ground, keeping only your fingertips in contact with the floor. Distribute your weight evenly among all fingers. Keep your body in a straight line from heels to head. Activate your core, and lower your body by bending your elbows. For beginners, it's recommended to start with knee-supported push-ups, gradually progressing to the full version. A common mistake is trying to use only the index and middle fingers. All fingers should participate to distribute the load properly and avoid injuries. Another frequent misconception is allowing the elbows to open to the sides, which reduces triceps work and places unnecessary tension on the shoulders. For modern beginners, I recommend starting with 3 sets of 5 repetitions, emphasizing the quality of movement and preserving correct form. If necessary, do push-ups against a wall or with knees supported. Progression is more important than quantity. A few minutes daily dedicated to this exercise can, over time, completely transform the strength of your hands and arms. An ancient Shaolin legend tells that the most advanced monks were able to perform these push-ups using only 2 fingers of each hand, and the true masters could execute them with just 1 finger. Although this may seem impossible to us today, it demonstrates the extraordinary potential of the human body when trained with persistence and method over many years. Exercise 5. Crow Pose. This exercise, which today is popularly known in yoga as Bakasana, was for the monks more than a simple position. It represented the union between physical strength and mental balance. In the ancient stories of the Shaolin temple, it is said that the monks observed crows landing softly on the thinnest branches, drawing inspiration from the grace and precision of these birds to develop their own stability in combat. This exercise intensely works the arm muscles, especially the triceps, which need to support much of the body weight. The shoulders and chest muscles are also strongly activated to maintain stability. But the true secret of the crow pose lies in the deep work it performs on the core. Abdominals, obliques, and spinal erectors work in perfect synchrony to keep the body balanced. Additionally, the hip flexors and back muscles come into action to keep the legs elevated. It's a complete exercise that develops strength and proprioception simultaneously. To execute correctly, begin squatting with feet together and hands firmly planted on the floor in front of you, with fingers well spread to create a stable base. The knees should be supported against the outside of the arms, near the armpits. Lean forward, gradually transferring weight to the hands while lifting the feet off the ground, one at a time. The goal is to find the balance point where you can keep both feet in the air, with the body supported only by the hands. A common mistake is not leaning forward enough, which makes lifting the feet difficult. Another frequent misconception is keeping the elbows too wide, which reduces your ability to support body weight. Keep the elbows bent and pressed against the body, creating a solid platform. A valuable tip is to fix your gaze on a point in front of you, not downward, as this greatly helps with balance. The monks practiced this posture, maintaining it for increasingly longer periods, starting with 10 seconds and progressing to 1 minute or more. For modern practitioners, I recommend starting with 3 sets of attempts of 5 to 10 seconds, with rest between them. As you develop strength and balance, gradually increase the time spent in the position. Remember that progress in this exercise comes with constant practice. The monks didn't master this position in one day, but through years of daily attempts. Exercise 4. Bear crawl. The bear crawl was a fundamental exercise in the training of Shaolin monks, inspired by the movements of animals in the forest surrounding the temple. While today this exercise is popular in modern functional training, the monks practiced it for centuries, believing that by imitating the movements of bears, creatures known for their brute strength and endurance, they would absorb these same qualities. There is an ancient Shaolin legend that tells how a young monk, after getting lost in the mountains during winter, survived by observing and imitating the movements of bears, returning to the temple with a new understanding of natural strength and mobility. This exercise is truly complete, engaging practically all major muscle groups in the body. The shoulders, arms, and chest support part of the body weight, while the core works continuously to keep the spine stable during movement. The legs, especially the quadriceps, hamstrings, and glutes, propel the body forward. The differential of the bear crawl lies in the way it develops strength and coordination simultaneously, forcing opposite brain hemispheres to work together as contralateral arms and legs move in synchrony. Additionally, being an exercise that involves displacement, it develops cardiovascular and muscular endurance at the same time. To execute correctly, position yourself on all fours, with hands directly under the shoulders and knees under the hips. Raise the knees a few centimeters off the ground, keeping the back flat like a table. This is your starting position. From there, advance simultaneously with the right hand and left foot, followed by the left hand and right foot, always keeping the trunk parallel to the ground. Keep the head aligned with the spine, looking a few meters ahead, not directly down. A common mistake is letting the hip rise too much or sink below the line of the spine, which compromises core work and can overload the lower back. Another frequent misconception is taking steps that are too long, which destabilizes the movement. Steps should be controlled and of moderate size. For an effective modern workout, I recommend starting with 3 sets of 20 meters, 10 meters forward and 10 backward, with rest between sets. As your endurance increases, you can increase both distance and speed. With regular practice, you'll notice not only an increase in overall strength, but also a significant improvement in hip and shoulder mobility. The ancient Shaolin masters observed that wild animals, despite not performing isolated exercises as we do in modern gyms, possessed unparalleled functional strength. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Having constant access to science-based information is what will help you progress with health in the long term in the world of bodybuilding. Exercise 3. Horse stance. The horse stance is possibly the most emblematic exercise of Shaolin training. Imagine an ancient warrior, preparing for an imminent battle, firmly fixing his legs on the ground as if riding an invisible horse. This was not just a combat position. It was a method of deep strengthening that transformed the entire body. The horse stance intensely works the quadriceps, glutes, and adductors, creating a robust base for any movement. But the true power of this exercise lies in how it strengthens the core, that set of muscles that surround your spine and support your entire body. Shaolin monks could maintain this position for hours, developing not only physical strength but also extraordinary mental endurance. To execute correctly, position your feet at shoulder width or slightly wider, with the toes slightly turned outward. Bend your knees as if sitting in an invisible chair, keeping the torso upright and the back straight. Lower until your thighs are parallel to the ground, or as low as you can maintain correct form. The hands can be extended in front or in a guard position. The secret lies in constant activation. Imagine you're trying to push the ground apart with your feet. creating tension in the legs without actually moving. A common mistake is letting the knees go beyond the line of the toes, which puts excessive pressure on the joint. Another frequent misconception is allowing the lower back to arch or the heels to lift off the ground. Keep your gaze fixed ahead and breathe deeply throughout the exercise. For beginners, I recommend 3 sets of 30 seconds, gradually increasing the time as your endurance improves. In ancient temples, masters frequently tested their disciples by having them hold a bowl of water in their extended hands while maintaining the horse stance. If the water spilled, it indicated that the student was tensing the shoulders too much and losing the quality of the posture. This lesson teaches us that even in the most challenging exercises, we should seek a combination of firmness and relaxation, strength and gentleness, discipline and naturalness. Exercise 2. Plank to deep squat. This dynamic movement, which combines isometric stability with power, was frequently practiced at dawn, when the first rays of sun touched the training courtyard of the temple. According to ancient masters, this exercise symbolized the transition between unwavering patience and readiness for action, 2 essential qualities for both combat and spiritual life. This exercise works the body comprehensively, with special emphasis on the anterior and posterior chain. During the plank phase, the shoulders, triceps, and chest are strongly engaged, while the core works intensely to maintain the position. In the transition to the squat, the hip flexors, abdominals, and lower back coordinate a complex movement that requires strength and precision. In the deep squat, quadriceps, glutes, and adductors are pushed to the limit, while the calf muscles and ankle stabilizers work to maintain balance. This constant alternation between different patterns of muscle activation develops not just strength, but also the neurological capacity to recruit muscles quickly, a crucial attribute for warrior monks. To execute correctly, start in a high plank position, with arms extended, hands aligned under the shoulders, and body forming a straight line from heels to head. Activate the core and maintain this position for 5 seconds. Then, in an explosive movement, jump with both feet forward, positioning them between the hands. Immediately, lower into a deep squat, with the hips below the knee line, keeping the chest lifted and the spine elongated. Stay in this position for another 5 seconds before returning to the plank, placing the hands on the ground and jumping with the feet back. A common mistake is rounding the back during the squat, which can put undue pressure on the lumbar spine. Another frequent misconception is not deepening the squat enough. Shaolin monks reached a position known as the pistol squat, with the hips almost touching the heels. For an effective workout, start with 3 sets of 8 complete repetitions. This means performing plank squat plank and rest 60 seconds between sets. As your strength and coordination improve, gradually increase to 4 or 5 sets of 12 repetitions. This exercise, developed by the Shaolins centuries ago, anticipated what we now know as high-intensity training, proving that ancient wisdom often contains the principles we rediscover as modern innovations. In a modern world where we are often forced to choose between strength or mobility, this exercise reminds us that we can and should develop both simultaneously. Exercise 1. One-leg stance. Inspired by the herons that inhabited the lakes near the temple, this exercise transcended mere physical development, becoming an almost meditative practice. In ancient Shaolin writings, we find the story of a young monk who, frustrated with his inability to maintain balance, was sent by the master to observe a heron for 100 days. Upon returning, he not only mastered balance but had understood that true stability comes from inner calm, not external effort. This seemingly simple exercise works the body in surprisingly deep ways. The supporting leg is intensely activated, with emphasis on the quadriceps, hamstrings, glutes, and all the small stabilizing muscles of the ankle and foot. The core goes into continuous action to keep the trunk stable, while the deep musculature of the spine works to maintain vertical alignment. The monks especially valued how this exercise strengthened the intrinsic muscles of the foot, those small muscles we often neglect, but which form the literal basis of all our balance and movement. Additionally, the posture intensely works the proprioceptive system, the body's ability to perceive its position in space, creating neurological connections that improve balance in all activities. To execute correctly, start standing, with feet parallel and apart at hip width. Distribute weight equally between both feet and maintain an upright posture, with gaze fixed on a point in front of you. Slowly, transfer weight to one leg while raising the other off the ground, bending the knee and bringing it toward the chest. For greater initial stability, you can keep your arms extended laterally. As your balance improves, experiment with different positions for the elevated leg, extended forward, to the side or backward, and different positions for the arms, such as together in front of the chest in prayer position. A common mistake is fixing your gaze on the ground, which compromises balance. Keep your gaze horizontal. Another frequent misconception is hyperextending the knee of the supporting leg, which reduces muscle activation and can be harmful to the joint. The monks practiced this posture for impressive periods, often remaining motionless for more than 1 hour on each leg. However, as you're not a monk, for an effective modern workout, start by maintaining the position for 30 seconds on each leg, performing 3 sets. Progressively, increase to 3 sets of 2 to 3 minutes per leg. To add challenge, try closing your eyes, which enormously intensifies proprioceptive work. Shaolin masters often practice this exercise on unstable surfaces, such as tree trunks or wooden posts, elevating the difficulty level to extreme heights. One of the most beautiful lessons of Shaolin training is that apparent external immobility can hide intense internal activity. While the monk remains perfectly static in the one-leg posture, internally there is a constant adjustment of muscle tension, a subtle dance of micro-corrections that maintains balance. This teaches us that sometimes what seems like absence of action to external observers may actually be intense inner work. In ancient texts, masters compared this practice to spiritual life. Just as the body learns to find stability on a single support base, the mind must also learn to remain centered and unshakable, even when external circumstances seem unstable. If you liked this, and also want to know 6 isometric positions that can heal your entire lower body from years of neglect, we've left a video appearing right now on the screen showing each of them better. Thank you for watching this far, and may God bless you, my friend.